what we've got here is a Northern Freight Flyer, and this is a train set that if you got it, I want to know. In 84, they made this one in 83, 84, 85, but it seems like one of those trains that people didn't keep, and I've never seen another one, to be honest with you. This one is complete in the box, and it's not missing anything. There's a few worn pieces on it, but it is a good runner, and in the previous video, we cleaned it up. So join me, let's go back to 1983 and see what the best Lionel had to offer. So before I shot this, I did do a little bit of research on it, and this train set ran really about 160 bucks MSRP, which means manufacturer's suggested retail price. And that was that's what Lionel suggested that the dealers sell this train set for, and whether they sold it for that up or down was basically up to the dealer, but plan on 160 bucks. So then I went back and said, geez, what did people make in 1984? And to be honest with you, they made probably about 400 bucks a week. And I remember my dad being a janitor at a school, and that's about what he made it in 1983, 1984. It's about 400 bucks a week. And he had, at that time, there was 3 of us boys left, plus mom. And I remember mom going grocery shopping, and she would come back with 2 full shopping carts at Shaw's Supermarket in Sanford, Maine. She'd have 2 full shopping bag carts, and it was right around 100 bucks. So if Dad made 400 bucks a week, a quarter of it right there was groceries. And this train at 160 bucks would have been, a little bit over a quarter of what Dad made for the week for a 40-hour week. So getting this train set for Christmas, this wouldn't have been like a, last minute gift. This would have been something somebody would have planned for. What I want to know is, did you get this train set for Christmas, and what did you think? Do you still have it? Would you buy another one? And then I went and said, geez, what are these trains worth now? And they're worth pretty much what you paid for it brand new. And to be honest with you, 160 bucks back in 1983, 1984 was about 500 bucks now, roughly 450, 500 bucks. The train sets that you got in 1984, the deluxe ones like this one, they came with a lot of stuff. I don't see any of the Lionel starter sets now for $450, $500 coming with basically anything other than the locomotive, 2 cars and a caboose, 4 sections of straight track if you're lucky, and 8 curves. That's basically what you're getting. I think the most I've seen with a starter set recently was the Polar Express freight set, which had a girder bridge and a couple billboards. But even back in the early 2000s, the Pennsylvania set came with like a bridge and some telephone poles and maybe some signs or something. So, look at this box here. This box is a little worn. To be honest with you, having the box, in my mind, makes this train set worth more. But this one's worn. This one's been on the shelf, and we'll take a look at the artwork here in a second. But this one came with a bunch of stuff. This one came with, and I'm sorry, my cat dumped this. I had it all organized. It was sitting on a chair, and it came with a semaphore. It was one of those manual semaphores, and I think I've shown you that in one of the videos, but we'll go back and visit that again in a different video. It came with a semaphore, across the gate, poles, signs. It also came with an uncoupling track. So we got an uncoupling track, and then I've got the button here is brand new. So either somebody gave me a brand new one, or they'd never used the uncoupling track as it was supposed to be used. We got the lock on, and I'm just finding road signs everywhere now. It came with a bag of coal. It came with a dump car, figure-8 track, a controller, and a bridge. This was probably one of their top-of-the-line sets in 1983, 84, 85, and it came with a lot of stuff. So you were railroading as soon as you got this train set. And what I think is cool about this train set, this is a GP7, and so the post-war Lionel trains, you didn't see a lot of diesels. And then when MPC took over, they started putting some diesels out. One of the best diesels I think that they came out with, besides the U36, was this GP7. The GP7 came out in the 50s. This was what they called a road switcher. So this would take the place of like the SW1s, things like that. So this train, you'd see it either pulling local freights, you'd see it as an extra for a passenger service, you'd see it working in the freight yard. This was the GP, the general purpose. So this was the beginning of a lot of the locomotives that you see today. And so the GP7, it's a really nice train. A lot of the railroads modified it and put a low nose on it, but this one isn't. We have metal handrails on it. We have a plastic body, 8-wheel drive. We've got 4 traction tires on it, and we've got the pull-more motors. And it's fairly heavy. I mean, it's not as heavy as some, but it's heavier than a lot. And what to me was really interesting about this for MPC is a lot of the MPC diesels only had 4-wheel drive. This one actually has 8. Maybe not a huge puller, but definitely got all 8 wheels doing their work. One of the pros about this is you don't see a lot of Chicago and Northwestern stuff. To be honest with you, this is the first MPC or Lionel actually, diesel, this Chicago and Northwestern. I've seen some steam engines, but I've never seen a diesel before, so it's kind of unique in itself. And so it's also, if you're a Chicago Northwestern person, there's your train, and you don't see a lot of them. So for a collector or someone who likes Chicago Northwestern, this is a great set to have. And I think today this train set is worth, like I said, about what you paid for it. It depends on the condition, obviously. If there's no box, it's not worth much. In my mind, maybe to you it is, but to me, having the box, the paperwork, and all the stuff that came with it makes it on the high side of valuable, even if it's been used. So obviously, unused, top dollar, complete, right up there. So I'm thinking this train set, for what I paid for it, I paid $140 for it. I think I'm right there. 160, 230 is like the top end that this train set's worth it in my mind. And even then, feels like it's way up there. So I think if you can get this for around 150 bucks, you're doing well. And again, this train cost 160 brand new in 1983. So if you paid 150, you're basically, getting your money back if you're selling it. We'll come over and take a look at all these cars. One thing that struck me with these cars, though, is they are reminiscent of the 70s MPC train sets in that, and for one thing, they only have a couplers that work on one end. The other one's a dead coupler. But they do have metal trucks and metal wheels. So the 70s, a lot of those train sets didn't have that, but this one does. Is that the original bag of coal? I don't know. But the original bridge is still sealed in the bag with the instructions in it. So that's crazy. There's a crossover. And the track on this, I didn't take it out. I had a loop from something else. The track on this was all shiny, so it's not rusted at all. The pins were tight, so that really tells me this train didn't have a lot of run time. This train probably, at most, came out for Christmas and went back in. And what do you do when you buy trains? Do you just run them? Do you put them on the shelf? You just take them out for Christmas? I'm working on my train room. It's not ready yet, so my trains right now consist of me taking them out, showing you, and then putting them back in the boxes until my train room is done. And then I'm not sure what I'm doing with it. So I'm one of those people who buy it, try it, and then either keep it or sell it. So they don't usually stay out. So we'll just look at the train here. And the first train car besides the locomotive was this Chicago and Illinois Midland, and built 183. Same thing. We've got dead coupler on one end, working coupler on the other, metal trucks, metal wheels. It's compared to the other MPC cars from the 70s. It's got some weight to it. We've got these two radioactive containers that fit in there, so that's kind of cool. Hopper and Illinois Central. This is a nice car, really. I think this is probably my favorite car of this whole train set. They all have the brake wheels on them still. It's not operating. It's in good shape. There's no scratches on it, which tells me again this train hasn't really been used. There's no scratches on this at all. And then when you look at the wheels, you can see there's a little tiny bit of track wear on them, but really not much. And with the MPC sets, they came out with what they call these fast angle wheels. And when you look at it, you can see that the wheels are tapered. And so what that did is it allowed it so when a train went into the corner, it could tip a little bit. And then they called it differential action, meaning because these axles, they're connected across, they could still turn without dragging, so you could pull more cars. And then the needle point bearings is basically just the end of the axle has a little point in it, and then the truck itself has a socket that fits in, and it turns really quickly. And this just goes and goes and goes. And I think the word was Delcon or Delron, I don't remember, I have to look that up, but the plastic was invented for these cars, and then all the trains had them at the time. So the one disadvantage about the metal wheels is sometimes they get dropped and they get a chip out of them, and you'll see that mostly in the locomotives. You see it steam engines a lot. You'll see the wheels got a chunk broken out of it where somebody dropped it. But these are all in good shape. These look really good. And the next car we got is the Searchlight car. So the Searchlight car, it gave me a little bit of trouble at first, and then I just bent the spring down for the pickup. This little roller right here, it makes contact with the center wheel, and if that spring isn't pushing it down, then it's not making contact really well, and then you don't get the light to come on. But it did come on, as you can see right there. So having this car that works, to me, adds value to it. There's nothing broken on it. It's all in good shape. Again, just one operating coupler. You got metal wheels and metal trucks. And these don't look like they've been used very much. They look really like they've just been sitting on the shelf. And interestingly, this car was made in Mexico. That's what it says on it. I think I heard somewhere that they tried to move to Mexico at one point and it didn't work out. And I don't know all the details. Maybe you know the details of why I know they did try to relocate to Mexico at one point. And I know a lot of toy manufacturers, at some point or another tried to move stuff to Mexico and it didn't work out. The next car we got is this boom car from Chicago Northwestern, again built 183, and I did have to like go through and fix the string on it, but it's operable again. And the way these worked is it just comes up, and I've got the hook on the post here, but it comes up and then you slide the boom over a little bit and then it clicks in, and then you've got two cranks. You got one for the boom itself and one for the hook. And this one does have damage on the wheel. The wheel is plastic and it got mangled somehow. But it is pretty light, and even though it does have metal wheels and trucks on it and one operating coupler, it is fairly light. But then remember that the locomotive itself wasn't super heavy, so these cars are really matched pretty well for that locomotive in my mind. And the next car we have is this dump car, the Chicago Northwestern, also 183, and I had to go through and fix the spring on it. There's a plunger that comes down. So what happens? So this operating track, when you energize it, it's basically an electromagnet, and so it's an uncoupler and an operating track. And what happens is you position this over it, you energize it, it pulls the plunger down, and then the car dumps. But there's a spring here that pushes it out. So if that's not in there correctly, when you snap it back down, it doesn't hook. I personally don't like to put the coal in these, because if you have an upset, then you've got a mess. And sometimes if these aren't latched down correctly, they dump, and then like I said, you've got a mess to vacuum up, and you've lost your coal load. So to me, you can. I mean, obviously it's your train set, but I personally don't like to use the coal because it makes a mess. So I don't use that. The logs, yes. Coal, no. The brake wheel on these is plastic, and it's similarly one operating coupler, metal wheels and trucks. But a decent car. There's no scratches on this anywhere. It's just not been used, and there's no wear on the wheels. So, you know, all the paperwork here is all in the bags. I just feel like I scored pretty well. What did come a little bit as a surprise was the railings here on this transfer caboose. This one's gone, and these two are broken. So I've basically got one intact railing, and I'm sure I could find another donor transfer caboose to seal the railings off, because they just pop out. But it also kind of tells the story of this train set. Ends here are plastic. And transfer cabooses were for locals, and they were for yard work. So they had this one looks like it had a stove in it, but they probably had a little stove. They didn't usually have bunks. So there you have it. I'll bring it over here and we'll take a look at it. And basically I just want to know, what would you do? Would you buy this train set? If you bought it, would you use it for the Christmas tree? Would you put it away? Would you just sell it again? Have you seen one of these? I've never seen one before. And then one day I found one and I'm like, wow, I've never seen that train before. It just seemed, and I thought I'd seen most of the starter sets from that time period, but obviously, like I said, my cat dumped the box on me, so everything's kind of in disarray. But here's your coal, there's the crossing, and here's your dump tray. Like you can see, there's no scratches on this dump tray. That's just a little bit of like dust. And I haven't tried to put the semaphore and the crossing together yet, so I'm not 100% sure that all the pieces are there, but we'll find out. And then when you look at the track, you can see the track here is really shiny. And like I said, the pins all stick in pretty well. Bridge. And then this is where they started transitioning to these cardboard cutouts. And you'll see that a lot in the 80s into the 90s, where they had cardboard cutouts with the pieces all set in it. And then they went from this flat box to this more of a stacked box. So at some point they went from that flat box to these stacked boxes like this. And then they, as of now, they got these, but just looking at the transition of boxes over the years is kind of interesting. Here, this wire is still in the loop. It's not even been used yet. Still on the sprues. So let's really take a look at this. And like I said, a lot of these Lionels, they're not really built to scale, and they weren't intended to be. They were what they called big trains for small hands. And they were built rugged. Like I said, these has metal railings on it, and I think the graphics are really good. I love that script. It's got glass in the windows. The horns are still on it. And like I said in the last video, we cleaned and oiled this, so everything is pretty good under here. And here's your switch. What that did is it just locked it in the direction that you had it in last. I never use it. I guess there's a reason for it, but I never use it. Couplers are operating. There's just no scratches. I think it's just a nice train. I'm kind of working in reverse a little bit just because of the way the cardboard is on here. And these were usually shipped with the wheels turned in, the couplers turned in, just to save space. And you can see there where the railings were all busted off, but nothing's scratched on it. So I don't know how they got busted. I'm sure there's a story. And like I said, I don't like these cabooses. I don't know why. I just don't like them. This one kind of reminds me of the New York Central one because it's like the same colors, but you can see how clean that is. You see the wheels? Like, that hasn't had much use. You know when they've had use because there's a groove and a wear spot on them, and they have, you know, maybe a little bit of tarnish on them, but they're in good shape. And like I said, the spring was a little mucked up in there, but I fixed it and it's good to go. So, you know, a lot of the MPC cars, it feels like the plastic was thin or something because it almost like translucent. And this isn't one of those cars. You know, it's, if you held it up to the light, you can't see color through it or light through it. It had good graphics. And isn't CNIM Chicago and Illinois Midland? I don't remember. I should know, but I don't. And this one's got a molded in brake wheel on it. I do like some of the cars that you have like a screw in there so you could change the trucks out if you wanted to, and this one's a little bit more difficult. You'd have to pop the rivet. So this just comes, it pops over and then it latches when you pick it up. That's how that works. And I usually hook the hook there, and I did have to go through and rerun the string, but it's all complete. A lot of times the hook is missing, a lot of times the string is really messed up, but that wasn't the case with this one. It was all in good shape. And you can see the wheels and the non-operating coupler, and then the operating coupler. So basically you had to just line up your train cars so that you would have operating versus non-operating the way they were set up, and then you could just still uncouple. And here's that pickup I was telling you about. There's a spring, kind of like it's hard to see it, but in behind that there's like a piece of copper. It's bent, and it pushes this down to the track, and that's what gives you power to the light. But you can see there's no scratches on this. It's not dinged up or anything. I always thought these were cool. They would send you these with the trains, and you don't get any of this anymore. But this is back before the internet, when everything was bought from a catalog, and then when you wanted something, you had this price list, and you'd fill it out and ask mom to write you a check, and you'd send it in, and someday, maybe in like 3 or 4 or 5, 6 weeks, you'd get something back in the mail, and nobody would stand for that anymore. Nobody would order anything in the mail anymore because they don't have the patience for it. Membership in one of my folders. And then here's one of the train set. These basically were standard, and they covered a lot of train sets with it. You can see the different numbers, and then it shows you all the different train sets. And then just looking at the box real quick, you know, to have the plastic still here, a lot of times that's gone. But I mean, you can see the box is, you know, this has been on the shelf. It's been moved around. There was wear on it.